Again, today is Monday. This is my second reading for Monday, March 4th, 2025. My payday is the 25th. So basically, I have 3 more weeks to go before I get paid. This month, we have a bonus, right? This month, I have a bonus. So, let's cheering up for that. And this article I just popped up on my Facebook post. I don't know, Facebook posts, they have a very interesting titles, subjects that attract my attention. So I just pulled this article from the batch. And let's learn more about this interesting article, and also let's practice English by reading it aloud. As I told you, I like reading an English material of 20 to 40 minutes length on a daily basis. This article is from dailypositiveinfo.com, but we got to be careful that all the articles on Facebook or some other social media network, they cannot be correct sometimes, maybe exaggerated or downplayed or mixed with fake news. The title here is "A Tiny Tree Was Discovered Growing Within a Man's Lung." Is it possible? The tree needs to have air and sunlight, right? Basically. The 28-year-old patient arrives at the hospital with symptoms that are upsetting. He told the physicians that he had been coughing a lot and that he was experiencing severe chest pain. He was scheduled for an X-ray since the medical personnel realized there was no time to squander. Strangely, the X-ray readings showed nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary. That's another good cliche to remember, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. They needed to get rid of the lump in the patient's lungs as quickly as feasible. Although the man's news wasn't the best, the physicians had seen nothing like it before. The lump they removed from patient had on the day of the procedure, however, that initial assessment was altered. The lump they removed from the patient had an odd shape, and the entire procedure was more challenging than they had anticipated. The doctors were perplexed. When the probe was submitted for additional examination, it turned out to be a tiny fir tree. According to the doctors who had performed the procedure, the man must have breathed in a seed that lodged in his lungs. As the seed developed into a sapling, the tiny needles began to irritate the tissues around it, causing coughing and chest pain. Scientists offered their opinions on the enigmatic tale as it became more well known. They too took a while to accept it, claiming it was probably a fabrication, false news, right? A fabrication. Probably it was a fabrication. Probably claiming it was probably a fabrication. On the other hand, most plants require a lot of sunshine to develop, but the human lung doesn't provide that. Furthermore, we would all have things growing in our bodies if it were that easy. Small seeds shouldn't be too difficult to swallow or breathe in, right? Scientists were perplexed by other accounts of plants sprouting in human lungs. A Massachusetts man was admitted to the hospital in 2010 after his lung collapsed. Even though it was regrettable, The patient previously had a history of respiratory problems, so the doctors didn't appear surprised by this. However, they quickly removed the lump they found inside the man's lung. They discovered a tiny pea plant, which was just as unexpected as the fir tree. The doctor's advice this time was that the man most likely ate peas for supper, but that one just didn't go the right way and didn't make it to his stomach. The little pea settled down in his lungs and started to grow leaves. Damn. In this instance, the truth is a little more nuanced, but it doesn't make it seem more likely. The chunk that was taken out of the man's lung turned out to be only half an inch long. A plant that little isn't truly considered a full-grown one. However, the seed succeeded in growing. The reason for this is that pea seeds may grow even in the absence of light. That's what it does naturally underground. At this stage, the seed doesn't require any light because it has enough internal energy to propel itself up to the soil's surface, where it will receive the sunshine it requires to survive. Plants are classified as autotrophs, or organisms that use exposure to light to nourish themselves due to their relationship with the sun. Many of us believe that the soil we put plants in provides them with their daily sustenance, but that isn't feeding them. For plants to make glucose from the material they eat, they require sunlight, water, and atmospheric gases. All plants, algae, and even some microbes such as propylsulfur bacteria carry out this entire process, which is known as a photosynthesis. Returning to our poor human patient, it is possible that the pea seed germinated since it contained enough moisture to live, but it did not develop into a full-sized plant. For photosynthesis to start, sunlight would have been necessary, but this doesn't mean it wasn't harmful or risky. Many other ER physicians also have comparable experiences, similar to this one from some Essex-based doctors whose patient at first appeared to have lost their dentures. They didn't first think much of this era because the woman was elderly and already had memory issues. That was only after it was later found that the woman also had other lung issues. They quickly made the connection and discovered that the woman's upper dentures were still inside her body rather than completely gone. Unaware that she had ingested them, the woman's respiratory issues were exacerbated when they become lodged in the back of her throat. Not all of these accidents are intentional. In the UK, another man desired to give his fiancée the engagement ring of her dreams, but he was unable to afford it. He therefore devised what he thought was a cunning idea. He proceeded to the jewelry store and waited calmly for the jeweler to take his eyes off the ring for a moment. He immediately swallowed the ring after that. The jeweler phoned the police since he was not so easily duped. The man could only confess after going through the metal detectors. After being led to a jail, the cunning romantic was supposed to return the ring to its rightful owner. There was other reasons why people have been caught ingesting jewels. Once a woman complained of stomach aches to the emergency physician. She was not strange in any way. Instead, she was a stylish, well-groomed, middle-aged woman. Nothing concerning about her was found during her physical examination. However, they had to ensure that the X-ray did. The physicians were confused as they examined the pictures since they showed a large amount of jewelry lodged in the woman's intestines and stomachs. She was clearly asked how the objects got there by the medical team, and her explanation was even more ridiculous. She claimed that her spouse had a nasty habit of giving her jewelry to other ladies, so she wanted to protect it. Another physician recalled treating a patient who had a bottle cap lodged in his throat. The issue is that he was unaware that he had an odd thing lodged inside of him. It was only found during a routine examination. Luckily, this one could be caught without surgery. Using a tiny medical net, doctors were able to remove it. They wanted to know how this man could have gotten a bottle cap lodged in his neck without even realizing it. His answer was straightforward. He could not locate the cap, but he did recall drinking water a few days earlier. He dismissed it all and carried on with his day. In other cases, bad things we do as children might haunt us for years to come. When a 30-year-old lady wound up in the emergency department with a stuffy nose, he undoubtedly learned this lesson the hard way. Learn this hard way. There's another cliche, right? Hard way. The hard way. She felt she needed to have it checked by an expert because no medication appeared to help. After taking a look, the physician saw that she had something that looked like a foreign object and some swollen tissue up her nose, and that thing appeared to have been there for a long time. She was rushed to operating room right away as they were unable to identify what it was. After being taken for more examination, the surgeon's removal was discovered to be some kind of paper-like substance. After being questioned, the woman admitted to sticking a piece of paper in her nose as a child, but she was equally as shocked as the physicians to learn that the piece had remained in her nose for more than 20 years. Damn. Certain foreign object extractions are more difficult than others. After jamming his brother's plastic construction toy up his nose, a child wound up at the ER. The child coughed and the tiny toy traveled down his throat and into his stomach as the doctors worked, to delicately remove it. The child's family and the physicians waited patiently for the boy to pass the key to intended destination. The child most likely wanted to return it to his brother for that reason. Pass the toy to the intended destination. The child most likely wanted to return it to his brother for that reason. Yep. The hard way and so on. No particular words to remember here, but we got to be careful when we're swallowing or stuffing something into our mouth, nose, eyes, ears, or even the assholes or pussies, be careful, right? Be careful of the stuffing things into holes. Thanks for listening and have a wonderful Tuesday. So today is a Tuesday, March 4th. March 3rd yesterday was our holiday. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.